From touching Usain Bolt's record to running as fast as a cheetah, these are the fastest players in college football history. And you can't talk about the fastest players without bringing up Reggie Bush. You could straight up pick up any play from his USC days and it would be a banger, but his most iconic play was versus Fresno State in 2005.
Gets the outside, he's at the 30, it's another foot race. Cuts it back to the 20, comes back to the near side of the field. He is gonna go, it's gonna be another USC touchdown.
Dude ran 30 yards, stopped, restarted, and cut across the entire field for the touchdown. The NFL scouts saw this game and didn't even need him to run a 40. Probably good though, cause his 40 time was high-key rough compared to everyone else on this list. Like DeMarcus Van Dyke, who's got one of the fastest 40s of all time. And at the University of Miami, speed wasn't just necessary, it was a tradition. So when Miami U faced off against Pittsburgh, DeMarcus kept that tradition alive and well with an insane 75-yard interception run.
Bostic from the Miami 20. Bostic on his strike quickly, throwing it high, and he is intercepted. Baldwin never really made a play on that ball. DeMarcus Van Dyke's going to run with it. DeMarcus is going to make a play, he may score.
Bro wasn't even at full speed and still made those 75 yards fly by. Now imagine making that run in Texas heat with half the defense on you. That's just the average Saturday for Tyquan Thornton, and they weren't on him for long, but sometimes DBs are the ones doing the cooking, and DJ Turner chefs up highlight reels on the daily. As a cornerback, it's not shocking that he ran a 4.26, the fastest in the 2023 Combine, but what is crazy is that his closing speed is in full gear, looks identical to that stopwatch. Running that fast in pads is rare, like Reggie Bush rare, and in this pick six against Maryland, he literally makes everyone else look like they're moving in slow motion. DJ just burned every single person on that team. And up next, we got someone just as fast that you probably never even heard of, cause Zedrick Woods isn't a household name. He wasn't drafted and he actually retired before ever playing in the NFL, which is pretty tough considering Zed holds a legit combine record, the fastest safety in NFL history.
Zedrick Woods, 4.3 flat.
And on the field, Zedrick made one or two plays where that 4.3 time matters. It's tough to see his career end so soon. He 100% would have been a big player for the Jags. Speaking of careers ending too soon, we got Donté Stallworth to talk about. Before Donté was a killer off the field, he was straight up murdering cornerbacks on the field.
About Donté Stallworth, ankle taped, and every week he gets something done. He writes 3 names of people he idolizes on them, and today, how about this? Randy Moss, Ike Hilliard, Jerry Rice, and he looked like Jerry Rice on that score.
Donté was built like a possession receiver, but moved like a sprinter, 6 feet tall, 200 pounds dry, and still clocked a 4.22 at his pro day. And even though people love to talk about his combine speed, Donté had something scarier, SEC game speed in a grown man's frame.
After he made that decision, wise move to come out when you're a mid-first round draft choice, the first wide out off the board. You see the ability after the catch. He ran during his workout 4.26.
Even Alabama guys just got lucky when they took him down.
He can beat you in the open field after the catch, as you'll see right here. This is against Alabama, so that speed and that ability in the open.
Dude was versatile as hell, but even though versatility is king in football, you gotta give respect for the specialist players, especially when they're as light as a feather. Cause JJ Nelson was torching defenses at just 5'10 and 156 pounds. But just because he's the lightest player on this list doesn't mean that he should be taken lightly. Cause when he was at UAB, he led the nation in kick return average. His entire highlight reel is basically just kicks returned for touchdowns.
20, 25, 30, 35, 40, far side, midfield. Foot race to the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10. He is gone.
But his craziest one comes from UAB's game against Troy University. His run should have been killed at the 30, but with some insane reaction time and a second burst, he takes off like he's got a third lung. But some dudes like Anthony Schwartz don't need that extra lung. They're already superhuman. Cause Schwartz had some serious wheels long before he became the fastest college football player. At just 16, he ran a 10.07 in the 100-meter dash, making him the fastest high schooler in the world, point blank period. And when he got his pads, untouchable.
To Schwartz.
Man, put that in a box and give me Baker's dozen.
Schwartz just disappears and makes the OLBs question their career choices. But that's casual for Schwartz, because he can delete any angle that a corner or safety has on him.
The speedy Schwartz across the 50. Here goes Schwartz inside the 20, and it is
Outrunning every player with an angle is something you can only do when you're known as the fastest in the league. But before Schwartz even graduated high school, Jacoby Ford was out on the field earning the same name. Jacoby Ford is basically a Jack JJ Nelson, but the real difference between these guys comes back to versatility, because JJ was a one-trick pony with his kick returns, but Ford could do the same thing just as fast, if not faster. And he had Velcro hands.
Jacoby Ford, the true freshman, and he can fly. Look at that acceleration.
And he could run it. The reverse from the running back through the secondary, then running back across the field for 6? Dude was a serious triple threat. But just as Jacoby was finding his footing in the NFL, along came Marquise Goodwin, a guy who didn't need versatility to be scary. Cause Marquise Goodwin is the only player on this list who wasn't even training for football when he clocked a 4.27 at the combine. He was training for the Olympics and still showed up faster than 99% of the league.
That was fast.
At Texas, he was more than just a track guy in pads. He ran real routes and burned corners. But against Texas A&M, he returned a kick for 95 yards at light speed. Dude ran so fast that the return was over faster than the kick. And before we get to the top 10, we got an honorable mention. The fastest average person, iShowSpeed. The average person's 40-yard dash time is 5.5. which is awful by NFL standards, but Speed might be the fastest normal person out there. This dude literally streams for a living, and he ran a 4.44. Which also isn't great, but he is at least as fast as Maurice Jones-Drew. But he's still a 1/10 of a second slower than everyone on this list, and nearly half a second slower than the fastest player of all time. Like, these dudes in the top 10 are seriously on another level. Cause now, we're not just talking about elite athletes, we're talking about freaks of nature. And for QBs, Michael Vick is the freakiest one out there. Dude was built like an average QB, but had the acceleration of a return specialist on a jailbreak. And with a 4.33 at the combine in 2001, he's not only the fastest QB of all time, he's faster than most players at any position.
And he is loose again. Midfield. Vick. He's made go. He will. Touchdown.
Those Temple guys are going all out, and Vick adds enough distance to put them in another zip code. And at that time, that kind of speed for a quarterback had never been seen. Sure, every few years a dual threat QB would pop up, but Vick's speed and athleticism struck legit fear into defensive coordinators. He took Virginia Tech to a title game as a freshman, was top 3 in the Heisman, and racked up 16 rushing TDs as a QB. And no clip shows his speed better than this 82-yard touchdown against Boston College. He breaks the tackle, takes 3 steps, and puts the pedal through the floor. But we're just getting started, because every player coming up just obliterates Michael Vick's 40 time, starting with Henry Ruggs III, who beat it by 0.06 and ran a 4.27. And at Alabama, he was clocked at going 24 miles per hour. To put that in perspective, that's only 3 miles per hour away from Usain Bolt.
And Ruggs is that elite speed guy.
The Usain Bolt. He was the fastest guy on Alabama and the most lethal wide receiver. He averaged 1 touchdown for every 4 passes for his entire college career.
In 6, has plenty of time, stands tall and delivers a bullet to Ruggs. And look at this space, and the guy flies.
And doing that for the best team in the league? That's some Jerry Rice type game. But even Jerry Rice couldn't predict that the next fastest guy would be bigger than Ruggs. Because typically, as you get faster, you get smaller. But with Tariq Woolen, we're getting real big. This dude is an absolute monster at 6'4", 210. But he proved that size truly doesn't matter, and ran a 4.26 at the combine, faster than any player's official time so far. And what happens when you mix speed with an outside linebacker build? You get a damn near deadly combo.
For sure, 39-yard catch, the pressure, and he never saw it, a huge hit.
You know that QB was tripping seeing this human freight train rushing him, but Tariq only gets up to 426 speed on the track. Dre Archer hits that speed on the track, in game, and maintains it for serious distance.
Right to left for Kent State. They turn and they give up the middle. Archer, look out, 50, 45, he's gone. Man, is this guy fast? 20, 15, 10, 5, third touchdown of the day.
As a running back, you might use speed to avoid hits, but Dre used it to make the defenders irrelevant. In 2012, he averaged over 9 yards a carry and nearly 40 yards per kick return for Kent University. And against Kentucky University, he gets the handoff, goes straight up the gut, and breaks through the whole defense in seconds. But even though Dre Archer ran a 4.26, Chris Johnson was out here running the league. Because Chris Johnson wasn't just one of the fastest. For a decade in the NFL, he was the fastest. And at the Combine, he clocked a 4.24. This is what real speed looks like. But even before he earned the nickname CJ2K for going 2,000 yards in a single NFL season, Chris was a legend in college. He set the ECU school record for all-purpose yards of 6,900 and the ECU record for return yards with 2,700. But his most impressive one by far was setting the record for all-purpose yards in a bowl game. 408. At one point during that game, he beat out a Boise State safety who had a 10-yard head start.
Johnson to the outside has a chance. Foot race, goodbye.
But any of these final 5 guys could do that, because now we're only bringing up record breakers and legends of the game. So next up is the guy that beat CJ2K's 40 time, John Ross. He was a solid player on the Huskies for 2 years and then tore his ACL, so he was out for the season. But when he came back, he single-handedly started Washington's 3-year golden era of the 21st century. Because before Ross's final season, the Huskies went 7-6. When Ross returned, the Huskies go 12-2, win the Pac-12 championship, make the college football playoff, and Ross earns Pac-12 Player of the Year. But Ross doesn't even need the awards to take the number 5 spot. His tape speaks for itself.
And able to float it outside, a one-handed catch by John Ross.
That one-handed catch is just so smooth. And oh yeah, and when Ross went to the NFL and beat Johnson's 40, he cramped up mid-run, so he broke the record limping.
There he goes.
He's moving.
I mean, dude's a straight up beast, but he was only a legend for his era. Deion Sanders has held the legend status for 40 years. Even though Deion Sanders came to be known as the best cornerback of all time, like CJ2K, he was blowing people's minds way before he went pro. At FSU, he wasn't just locking people up, he was taking away entire game plans. By junior year, QBs just stopped looking his way because it wasn't worth the risk. All he needed was one cut and he was gone.
Gonna get away. His mobility helps him. It's picked off. That's Deion Sanders. What a broken field.
He finished his college career with 14 picks, 4 of them to the house, led the country in punt return average, and won the Jim Thorpe. And mind you, this was before FSU even joined a conference. They scheduled whoever they wanted, and Deion just torched every single one of them. And even though Primetime is one of the all-time GOATs, nobody, not Primetime, not CJ2K, not even Ross, has done it faster than Xavier Worthy.
Here it goes. Oh!
Unofficially 4.22, but officially it was 4.21, and the fastest time in NFL history. And Xavier is the real deal. He's not a crossover like Marquise or a straight line specialist like JJ Nelson. Nah, Xavier was burning guys on carries, punt returns, and receptions in the SEC through all of college.
Good toss from Xavier Worthy. Worthy is still up. The Burners, the sideline. He's tough. He's fast.
And he lobs it out to Xavier Worthy. He may go, and they trip him up.
Yeah, I think he's gonna hold on to that official time for a while. But before official times meant anything, before the Combine even existed, there was Bob Hayes, and he was the speed standard, not just for football, but for the world. Because Hayes is the only athlete to win a Super Bowl and a gold medal.
Bob Hayes is a football player who just happens to be the world's fastest living human.
It may have been a 100-meter race timed at 10.06, but when converted, that translates to what would be a 4.19 40-yard dash, and running like a cartoon. But the fastest player of all time could straight up beat a camera's frame rate, and he was so fast, he basically hit mythical status. He is Bo Jackson. Willem may have him on height, but at 227 pounds, Bo Jackson is by far the biggest player of all time to go sub 4.3 at the combine. In fact, he says that he went sub 4.2 and hit a 4.13 at his Auburn Pro Day. That may be hard to believe given that it's unofficial, but the thing is, the hand stopwatches got him going even faster. Plus, he wasn't just outrunning the angle on random teams. He was dominating every single team in the SEC, so much so that he got SEC Player of the Year in '85 and the Heisman. I mean, bro, just look at Bo hit the gas. Dude was straight up a cheat code on the field.